All right, man, peace. So in the aftermath of Game 3 of the NBA Finals, NBA superstar LeBron James issued a proverbial mea culpa in one of the press conferences in between Games 3 and 4. And I asserted that pretty much he was declaring that at the very least for those finals, he was Kevin Durant's bitch. There was no doubt in my mind about it. And according to a new report from Mr. Stephen A. Smith, it seems to once again confirm that LeBron James understands that all roads lead to Kevin Durant, and he just does not have a solution for that problem. So, of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Oh, gentlemen, no time for pleasantries today. There's so much to get into. It's chess, not checkers, and we're
It's absolutely chess, not checkers, Molly Karam. Very, very well stated. Very well said. LeBron James is a chess player. But what LeBron James now is suffering from is a sentiment that I touched on in another video, which is the quickly and precipitously dropping overall respect that he has from other players around the league in regards to the fear factor. Of course, they respect him as a basketball player, but LeBron James is not viewed as some insurmountable obstacle like a Michael Jordan was back in the 90s. He's just not viewed like that. LeBron is starting to be viewed much more accurately as a Wilt Chamberlain figure. Very physically dominant, but you feel like you can beat him if your team is operating on an optimal level of basketball IQ. Because the LeBron James system is not going to beat a team that is operating on an optimal level of basketball IQ, bottom line.
Following all the money moves that are happening, the deadline to opt in or out is 11:59 p.m. Eastern Friday. Free agency reports in full swing and scenarios keep changing, so we are going to get into all of it. Stephen A., I want to start with you. What are you hearing?
Well, first of all, I'll get into Paul George a little bit later. I got some stuff to tell you, Max and Molly, about Kawhi Leonard as well and what's, just percolating in San Antonio. But as it pertains to LeBron James in L.A., we know that the reports have been that he's been making some phone calls or what have you. I got 2 phone calls last night, after hours, with folks telling me that LeBron James reached out to Kevin Durant.
That's not a surprise to me. As I've already stated, I believe that LeBron James' team has reached out to Kawhi Leonard's team, and they're the ones who put the battery in his back to request a trade. Of course, Kawhi Leonard is not going to do things that are not best for him, and I believe that he was going to request a trade anyway, as I've been stating in many of my previous videos regarding Mr. Kawhi Leonard. But I have no doubt that LeBron James and his team tried to bolster Kawhi's sentiment to request a trade to the LA Lakers, because LeBron understands that having Kawhi as a proverbial Scottie Pippen for him would be perfect. It would take away a lot of the defensive pressure that he no longer is willing to exert on the basketball court, and Kawhi would be a great second banana, which I think is much more conducive to Kawhi's personality.
Actually, Kevin Durant, you know that dude for the reigning 2-time NBA Finals MVP, Max? You know that guy, one of the top 3 players in the world, that guy?
Yes, that guy Kevin Durant, the guy who LeBron sees and shivers in fear.
Who just spent the last 2 years beating LeBron James in the NBA Finals.
Like a drum.
Well, LeBron James reached out to Kevin Durant via text, from what I'm told, about coming to Los Angeles.
Yeah, LeBron was on that 7th grade shit. Probably texting KD all late at night. Hey, yo, did you hear what Steph Curry said about you, son? KD was like, no, I didn't. What did he say? Oh, well, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I really think you need to know how Steph really feel about you, but I can't tell you until you opt out and sign with the Lakers. But it's really something that you need to know.
I don't know what Kevin Durant's response to him was. That is not the information that I got, but I will tell.
I pretty much know. I think it was a 2-word response, starting with bitch and ended with please.
I'll tell you what I did hear is that behind the scenes, Kevin Durant was like, why would I do that? You know what? As far as I'm concerned, LeBron James is a big-time player, what have you, but the way I look at it, I should be perceived as the best in the world. I'm the reigning 2-time champion. I'm the reigning 2-time NBA Finals MVP. Why would I think about doing something like that?
Absolutely. And once again, it speaks volumes in regards to how many of these other players all across the NBA view LeBron James. They want to come for his head. They do not want to team up with him. This notion that all these superstars across the NBA have always wanted to team up with LeBron James. That is a complete media narrative that started when LeBron went down to Miami, with many of these people in the media not understanding that the reason why Dwayne Wade teamed up with LeBron wasn't because all of these superstars wanted to team up with LeBron. It's because they were friends. And Dwayne Wade understood that not only would he have an opportunity to teach LeBron how to actually lead a team, but he'd also be bringing a superlative talent over to the Miami Heat, and it would immediately put the Miami Heat into championship level contention.
But nevertheless, LeBron has been making calls, and the one person that he did make, a text message to, the one person I'm told that he reached out to was Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant ain't coming to LA. Kevin Durant plans on staying in Golden State. Kevin Durant plans on, opting out and then, getting a contract and an extension from the Golden State Warriors. His plan is to stay there because his mentality is that he intends to surpass LeBron James. His whole thing is not to join and help LeBron James get more rings, even if he's getting it with LeBron. His goal is to surpass LeBron James. He believes in the next couple of years he'll have more rings than LeBron.
Right now, the comparison between KD and LeBron is very, very close, because KD has found a home in more ways than one, not just in Golden State in regards to the city of Oakland, but also in regards to that team. The system that he plays in is perfect for how he plays. It has brought him to another level of understanding in regards to how the game should be played. And he now knows that there's no way that LeBron can beat him.
Than LeBron James has. And so that's the mentality right now, and that was the news that I got last night.
Absolutely. Why team up with LeBron and help him win championships when I can win championships without him and be viewed as the best player of this era? Possibly.
Why would LeBron James text Kevin Durant, right? Like Steve.
Because he's desperate and isn't sure if the Lakers are going to be able to pull off the Kawhi Leonard trade. That's why. And as we speak, Paul George is in his house in LA haggling with his stripper wife over whether or not he's going to come and play for the Lakers. That's why LeBron decided to text KD. LeBron was probably at home in the living room with his wife Savannah, the kids, and Shannon Sharp, and was like, I wonder if I should try to text KD, see if I can sow any dissension with that team. And Shannon was like, yeah, baby, go ahead. I mean, shit, what you got to lose? That anorexic nigga up there in Golden State been kicking your ass the last 2 years. Try it.
Stephen A., you said, if true, by the way, because the first reaction is, that can't be true. How could that be true? But then the next reaction is, oh, wait a minute. Nowadays, you think that can be true. Once upon a time, that was unthinkable. It's not anymore. So why? Why would he do this? You called Kevin Durant's joining Golden State the weakest move ever by a superstar.
Or the smartest, one of the two, or maybe both.
In the NBA. And this is not quite a move, but if you considered this a move, would this be even weaker than Kevin Durant going to Golden State? I mean, it makes you think like that.
Well, the rules of the game have changed, Max Kellerman. So these players no longer interpret teaming up with one another or making strategic chess moves as weakness. They view it as shrewdness, as intelligence. They're maximizing their earning potential off the floor, and they're maximizing their winning potential on the floor.
So you think, how could this be? And I think the answer to that lies in what you described Kevin Durant's reaction is, according to some folks. Why would he have to join LeBron when, as the reigning finals MVP, whereas a two-time champion, they played
and reigning 2 times finals MVP.
9 finals games, they won 8 of them. He's younger than LeBron, he's ascending, he's often the scoring champion. He has created a situation for himself largely based on his own greatness. But the added ingredient he needed to get him to this level in terms of public perception were great teammates in a great situation where he could not only ride their coattails but put an already great team over the top so there's no competition. In other words, he put himself in a great branding position. And how did he do that? By being shameless. We've seen this work better than ever in our national politics, Stephen A. This sense of shame doesn't really help people. When they are shameless, they wind up in a better position because the details wind up getting washed over, and very few people are really paying attention to those details. And
well, you can call it shameless. Some may call it not conforming or kowtowing to media narrative. And if you're alluding to Donald Trump, one can state that one of the main appeals of Donald Trump, or one of the main aspects of his character that people find appealing, I should state, is that he doesn't give a fuck, or doesn't seem to. And that certainly seems to endear him to his constituency, and that's all that should matter. In the same way, if you're Kevin Durant, all you should care about is your constituency, that being your teammates and your family. Everybody else does not really care about you either way.
Most are paying attention to, and maybe even if they are paying attention to the details, you can't help but emotionally be affected by, boy, that dude's a champion. That dude's a two-time reigning champion, a finals MVP. He'd have never been in a position to be a finals MVP had it not been for the shamelessness to join the Golden State Warriors in the first place.
Well, it's very difficult for you to state that and then out the other side of your mouth say that, well, he should not have left Oklahoma City because they could have went to the finals. If you're alleging that had he not come to Golden State, he never would have had a chance to be the finals MVP, what you're doing is you're justifying the reason why he left Oklahoma City in the first place, Max Kellerman. So that seems to be a bit of a Freudian slip on your part, sir. As we all know, the main reason why the media and the low-level fans were against Kevin Durant leaving Oklahoma City is based on the presumption that he had a chance to win a championship with them. If you're now alleging that he would not have had a chance to be the finals MVP had he not come to Golden State, you're validating why he left, sir.
And so LeBron, it does make sense if you really don't care how people are going to take it, and you just reach out to the second best or third best player in the world and say, hey, come join me. In the end, it winds up helping your brand, as Kevin Durant has shown.
In fairness to LeBron James' camp, let me be very, very clear. They are emphatically denying it. They're saying it's totally false. So in fairness to them, let's put that out there. They already text me it's totally false. It's not true, Stephen A. I have no doubt that if somebody asked Kevin Durant, he might say the same thing.
I'm sure, but there's a lot of cloak and dagger stuff that goes on in all these sports leagues behind the scenes that many people might not be aware of, and you just have to use your perceptive abilities, your perceptual abilities, your quote-unquote intuition. Most of my videos in regards to me being able to prognosticate what people are going to do in certain situations or scenarios are based on that. But that's why I use that term allegedly, because I didn't see it from my own two eyes. I just listen to what my brain tells me in regards to how people move. When you view things from a three-dimensional perspective, it's not that difficult to be able to predict what people are going to do in front of your face or behind your back. So I think that one will be foolish to believe that LeBron James is not having his feelers reach out to the elite players across the NBA who are free agents and asking them what are they thinking about doing, what would they think about in regards to teaming up, things of that nature. You'd be a fool to not do so. In the same way, when you're a prospect for a position in a corporate office, they check your references. They want to know what your personality is like, how well you'll quote-unquote fit into the team. That's just how things go before any type of person or faction decide on whether or not they're going to make an acquisition.
I'm telling you, I don't give a damn. I've got a couple of sources that I've trusted for many years that have never let me down. Any information that they have given me has never, ever, ever been false in the particular situation involving these two individuals. That's why I felt the need to go on the air with it. But I'm going to be responsible and say that LeBron's side of the camp is emphatically denying that there's any truth to this whatsoever. I don't know what Kevin Durant would say. Likelihood is that he probably wouldn't admit it as well. I'm telling you, this is one of those situations where I'm going to rely on my source, my two sources rather.
Well, brother, I have one source, that being my brain and my ability to see. And I made a video a long time ago about watch out for LeBron James and Kevin Durant teaming up on the LA Lakers. I felt like it was an outside chance, but I knew that LeBron James would attempt to make this happen in some way, shape, or form. Whether it failed or not, he would try it. And that's what all great men do. Great men try great things. If you fail, you fail. It's okay. You get back up, you dust yourself off, and you move on to plan B. That's just how things go. But Stephen A. Smith, we all know who your source is. Your source is Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp texted you, or maybe he called you about 11:30 at night. He said, "Hey, Stephen A., this is Shannon. This is SS. I'm here to tell you that LeBron is thinking about teaming up with that skinny nigga up there in Golden State. I'm just letting you know, because I'm tired of LeBron looking for the easy way out. So do your best on TV tomorrow and shame his ass. Signing off.
Tell you that in all my years of getting information from these individuals, they have never, ever, ever once led me astray when I've gotten any information from them. That's why I felt comfortable enough to go with this. I said what I said. I meant what I meant. LeBron obviously is entertaining various options. There's already been news reports out there that he's reached out to some folks to see who would be willing to go to LA or whatever the case may be. I heard that one of those people was Kevin Durant. That's what I'm going with, period.
Yeah, I have heard that is not true. But if you're telling me,
Sure they did.
if you're right, and by the way, on its face, you'd be like, no way. But you are saying, reporting here, Stephen A., that throughout the years, the source that told you this information has never given you a bum steer. I think there's another angle on this, if it's true. Again, we're going based upon the report and assuming it's true for a moment, that LeBron reached out to KD and said, hey, come and join me. And I bring up shamelessness and how people felt that way about LeBron when he wanted to play with Dwayne Wade in Miami. But LeBron turned out to be right. I mean, I was doing hits on TV with people who are apoplectic. LeBron James dare go join Dwayne Wade in Miami. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird would have never done this. They couldn't believe it. KD said, oh, wait, that works now because LeBron was vindicated. Won 2 championships.
Right, but please also understand that KD decided that he was going to join in on the vilification of LeBron James when it first happened. That's just another example of the understanding that what you think or what you think you comprehend at 21, 22 years old is not always the case when you get to be 28, 29 years old. The world is a bit different.
Chips went to 4 straight finals, entered the Jordan conversation for many. KD said, oh yeah, he can do that. Watch this, I'll go join the Warriors. And now it feels like all bets are off. But Stephen A., even if it's not, even if LeBron wouldn't seriously actually do it, isn't there something to be said for doing your due diligence, right?
Absolutely. You have to be thorough.
But isn't it responsible just to see what all the options are?
Well, remember, that's what we're talking about here. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about here. You know, you could have texted him to ask about his willingness to go as opposed to asking him to do it. You want to know where his mindset is or whatever the case may be. So sometimes people take it and they attach an agenda to it that may not be so. For all we know, LeBron James may decide he's not going to LA. For all we know, he may decide he's not going to LA because the phone calls that he's made in terms of trying to gauge the interest in joining the Los Angeles Lakers on the part of others is not there. So
well, Stephen A. Smith, believe me, if LeBron James decides that he's not going to go join the Los Angeles Lakers, it's because he knows for a fact that Kawhi Leonard is not going to be traded there and Paul George is not going to sign there. And I don't believe that he's verified that yet.
The attractive commodity that he once thought LA was may not necessarily be the case. We don't know the answer to those questions. All I know is that, you know what, there's nothing wrong with doing your due diligence. There's nothing wrong with having a conversation and inquiring. That's what I reported, and I'll keep in mind. Remember, Kevin Durant, you're leaving OKC. You're looking to move on. Well, folks were lying about that. What happened? You know, throughout the years, Shaq and Kobe, you've heard one story after another. Haven't you noticed how the story has changed over the years, Max? And all of a sudden, things are more enlightening, where things that were emphatically denied suddenly were revealed to be true, and people are a bit more open after the dust settles or whatever. When you're covering this league, you hear this kind of stuff all the time. They text me, it's totally false. They make sure they text you, it's totally false, because we got to have backup to refute whatever Stephen A. or somebody else is saying. Go right the hell ahead. I said what I said. I meant what I meant. I know what I got told last night. I'm on national television saying what I got told. I don't know whether the hell it's true or not. I know that I believe my source, and that is what it is. And
well, Stephen A. Smith, if you're going to be a reporter, you shouldn't say you don't know if it's true or not. You should say that, as you stated in the initial portion of your report, that your sources never lied to you, that you confirmed it with a second source, and leave it at that. When you start saying that you don't know if it's true or not, now you're at the same level as myself. You might as well be on YouTube. Why are you on national television for? When you make a report like that on national TV, what is expected is that you have confirmed that this is what actually occurred.
And that's That's what I
Question,
went with.
Stephen
I'm
A.
not backing up one bit.
Question, Stephen
Yeah.
A. Because you worked the NBA and even in Philadelphia in the tablet, you worked it for so many years. When you say a source has never steered you wrong, are we talking about?
I don't think that Stephen A. Smith said a source. He said this source.
2 or 3 times? Are we talking about dozens of times? Where would you peg that?
About a dozen. About a dozen.
A dozen times
About a
through
dozen.
the years. And so
About a dozen. About a dozen spanning this entire millennium.
Right, so
Millennium.
in the last almost 20 years, there have been 10, 12, 14, whatever it is times that this source that told you that LeBron texted KD has told you something and it turned out to be true, and 0 times it turned out to be false.
That is correct. That's what I'm saying.
Huh. All right, guys. Pretty strong odds there. Let's continue the conversation.
But anyway, we'll see what happens with this LeBron James situation going to the Lakers. LeBron is one of a bevy of NBA players, including his friends Carmelo Anthony and Chris Paul, who understand that this is the most pivotal offseason of their careers. Because this Golden State juggernaut is a machine that they are going to have to batten the hatches to attack. They're going to have to swallow their pride to defeat. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because if they're not willing to team up, they might as well not even consider themselves serious contenders for a championship if they're not willing to team up in a functional way. Because that Golden State machine is exactly that. They don't play games. They know exactly where they're supposed to be on offense and defense. And the only way that a team is going to even have the possibility of beating them is if they suffer some type of catastrophic injury to one of their major players, or there's a super team that's formed that has such overwhelming talent and individual superlative play on both offense and defense that they're able to chip holes into the Golden State process. But we'll see what happens. Peace.